It is time. It is time for cringe. I'm excited. Also, I'm already, like, nervous and sweating. I'm gonna have to take another shower tomorrow. It's crazy. Totally did not forget something until this very second. I can fix it from, like, now. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, we're good. It was music, but I have a lot of music. I know, normally I think for the last reading that I did, I pulled out, I planned music more thoroughly of like what song I'm gonna play while I'm reading what chapter, but this I'm like I was just focusing on making the writing as good as physically possible. Also, because you can't like Google what I'm playing and see like the content warnings, I will have the content warnings here in chat. I figured out how to pin my own messages again. I just have to refresh the page. So that is not properly spaced. Come on. Needed to be in the content warning. I've heard reports of people dying of cringe, so you know, you can never be too careful. Wait, it still has the bad. Gotta cover all the bases. No, normally, like, you know that IMDb has like a very extensive, for most series, it has a very extensive like trigger warning list. Like IMDb drag. Scroll down. What was it? Scroll down to Parent's Guide, and it will tell you all of the potentially like triggering content warning, including detailed descriptions. And then for like video games, you can use like ESRB. There's another site essentially dedicated to content warnings and media. Is it doesthedogdie.com? Because I remember doesthedogdie.com used to just exclusively be whether or not does the dog in the movie die or not. But since its inception has covered more bases. Yes, okay, cool. I love that that website started as a joke and then it turned into like a legitimately actually helpful website. My favorite arc. Have another 20-minute intro screen. We love to see it. But yeah, from this stream, I'll expand when the stream starts. Hey, I have a quick question. Did I misspell my effing name again? S-O-L-A-R-I-S. 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 Okay, it was misspelled here. Control F is misspelling. Only misspelled in that one place. You don't hear it? You need a intro song? Playing New Year's music. I can't. Just for the intro. Good sunny day, everybody. It's your friendly intergalactic sun prince of the sun, Enyou Solaris to Moshimas. I have not even started the stream yet, and I'm already nervous and sweating. I'm gonna have to take another shower. But yes, for the first time in 9 months, we are going to do another fanfiction reading. And if you're a VOD watcher, please use the timestamps in order to get to the actual chapters. Because in between chapters, I will be talking to chat and also before chat. So if you're just here to listen to an audiobook version of the story, then click on chapter 1 right now. And if you're watching live, then, hey, how's it going? How y'all been? I feel like I've never seen any of you ever before in my entire life. Especially not less than an hour ago. But yeah, we're gonna read this fanfiction. Okay. I'll show you, like, the first, like, couple things of text. Is the text readable? Long time no see, am I right? Yeah, I know, right? What's up, Michael? Is the text on screen readable? Because there will be a text version after the stream. There will be a text version that you can find, but, you know, I don't want to give you spoilers, so... It's legible, yeah? Okay. Let me see in like the YouTube page. I mean, this is like the same layout I've used before. Oh yeah. Even at, like, you know, phone size, you can still read it. You might need to full screen, but you can now 100% read it. I think I was okay with that last time. Yeah, I'm on the right layer. Want to be behind this, so you can, so I'm not obstructing anything. So hey, how's it going? We're finally Okay, so let's talk about the development of this story, okay? So, if you don't know, if you didn't watch my debut or my previous writing, I want also, is this content warning legible? Yeah, it's legible. I also have content warning in the pinned comment because, you know, when I play, I was talking about this in the pre-stream. If I'm playing a game or watching an anime, you can just look up the content warning, like ESRB has an extensive list of like what could be triggering in the game, and IMDb for like anime and movies and stuff you can use has a parent guide that you can use in order to know what you need, what could be triggering in there. Yeah, so you search something on IMDb and then scroll down to parent's guide, and that gives you a very extensive list. I'm looking at Maid Dragon, and the first content warning I see says Luca has large breasts, but they're covered, referred to sometimes in the dialogue. There's more, obviously, but, you know, you get stuff like that. So, and because this is an original story, never seen before, and by anyone's eyes but mine, and I think I might have shown it to some other people. Yeah, so I have, you know, the warning just to cover all the bases. And yes, cringe is definitely a warning. There have been people who have died of cringe. Okay, it's not funny. It's a very you gotta. I just want people to be prepared to what they're going into. Okay. So yeah, the development of this story. My hands are clammy. Okay, so development of this story is so when I debuted, you know, I'm like, hey, I like writing, and I want to make writing a big part of my stream. Also, can nobody see the chat box? I think the chat box was legible. Anyway, so yeah, I want to make writing a bit. I was like, I want to make writing a big part of my stream. You know, that's like, you know, my gimmick. You know, not a lot of the other VTubers or content creators in general, you know, write stories and read them on streams, and I'm like, it's something that can make me unique, and it's something that I like doing. So I'm like, I should do that. Should I make this the thing the background? No, it's this background is fine. But yeah, so I had some, I mean, there's some writing, like lore videos and stuff, but, and I did do that. Like, the first thing I wrote and released was the, lore little video that I wrote, and also, my mom helped me edit, so I think I put her in the description, because I forgot that she actually did do a decent amount of, like, looking up. She didn't, like, edit it at all, but, like, she didn't, like, edit it at all, but, like, she did, like, make some, like, suggestions that I implemented, so I think I should credit her. Anyway, not important right now. So I did the debut lore, and then, during the debut week, I, released my first, like, full short story, original characters, original story, original universe. Didn't have me, Solaris, in it. Was called A Fight in Time. And, you know, I liked it. It definitely had some problems. It was a little convoluted for its own good, and was definitely early in my writing career. I mean, this is only my second thing, but I already think I have improved a lot since then. So, but yeah, Fighting Time's still not bad. You know, it's some a little amateur writing, but like definitely not like the worst you could see on the internet. Trust me, or in general. So I plan to, you know, make. I was working on the next piece of story, but you know, I was working on the next story plan that I had, but so yeah, I was like, yeah, Fighting Time is subpar and not my best, not what I feel like is what I could do my best at. So I'm like, I want to working on the next thing, but like, you know, making YouTube videos and life and other stuff was just very busy. and ended up having some time pass. And then in the summer, I was like, hey, one of the reasons I want to be a VTuber is because I want this artwork of me and my waifu, Palutena, from Kid Icarus Uprising. So I'm like, hey, if I'm going to have this picture made anyway, why don't I write a short story to go along with it? It'll be fast, it'll be fun, and I can release it on my birthday, and it'll be sick. So that didn't happen. So the whole being short and fast and quick and easy did not happen. This is not quite as long as my last short story. I think Fightin' Time was like 9,000 words. It might have been 11. So it's not quite as long as that, but definitely like it's a meaty short story. It's definitely not like the flash fiction, you know, like 2,000-3,000 words that I was expecting, you know. So yeah, it's a 7,890 words. And yeah, so it was a combination of that and yeah, the artwork was took some time to like find an artist and for them to do it, and some semantics involving that, and just being busy. So instead of coming out in the summer, it's January. It's January. So yeah, no. Life happens, you know how it goes. But yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm gonna be a writer, and then didn't release anything for 9 months. So hopefully after this, I know how to better manage my time, and I know how much work is going to be involved in things be occurring. Yeah. I know how much time and effort is involved in a project like this, so the next story should be coming out sooner. But, you know, another thing is that Fightin' Time, I finished the rough draft of the finished draft of this back in October. But again, you know, things be occurring. And, yeah, things be occurring, and I feel like I rushed Fightin' Time out the door. Like, I wanted to get it in debut week to show people I'm a real writer. And I think the story kind of suffered because of that. And so I wanted to make sure finished draft of this draft. I finished the completed draft. I mean, I wrote the first part of the story. I wrote the story in October, finished writing the story in October, and then you said giraffe. I think I might have. I think I said giraffe several times. But yes, I wanted to make sure it was well edited. I think Fightin' Time suffered because it wasn't edited enough, so I wanted to make sure it was really well edited, because I'm happy with the story that I made for a cringe fanfiction / Japan travel blog / VTuber lore. You know, I wanted to make sure that this was the best that it could be. And again, it could all, you know, with editing and fixing things, it's never going to be perfect. It could always be better, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. And I'm very, very, very happy with this artwork made by, you can see their name in the corner, Doki Adaki. Yeah, you can, they are linked in the description. I talked about them all on Twitter. Very good artist. This piece is really beautiful. Is exactly like what I had in mind when I'm like, yeah, me on a date with my waifu in Japan. Like, this is 100% exactly what I had in mind when I envisioned that. I don't know, maybe not exactly what I had in mind, but like a point where I'm like, I'm very happy with it because it's a good combination of what I wanted and the artist putting, you know, their own, you know, art style flair on that, you know? So like, you know, especially the facial expressions here. I'll show you what I gave the artist. I gave the artist a description of what I want and a picture I warned you about Cringe, okay? I'm just letting you know. There's no going back after this. This is what I gave the artist as an example of what I wanted. Right? So, clearly, the artist put a lot of love into that and made it very good. Thank you, Doki-sensei. Arigatou gozaimasu. Cause, yeah. Being given this and making this, chef's kiss. I love it. I'm gonna use it as a wallpaper. But yeah, I don't know. Unless anyone has any more questions, I think we're just gonna hop straight into it. Yeah, it's a 7,000 words. Should take me 2-3 hours to write on stream or read on stream. I'm gonna write the whole thing. Shoutouts to artists. Shoutouts to artists. Half the reason I became a VTuber is because I want to work with artists and I want to promote artists and I want to, you know, work with artists. I think I said that twice. So, like, you know, being a VTuber, having Tay Sensei and everybody else that helped work on getting me the way that I'm looking. Definitely happy about that, you know. And I wanted to continue doing things, and that's another reason why I wanted to do writing, because I'm like, hey, you know, they could do art for writing, you know? I had somebody do the logo for Fightin' Time, and I wanted to make, like, you know, illustrations, you know? Like, if this was gonna be printed in a book, like, this would be on the front cover, you know? Stuff like that. Or, you know, if someone was gonna make a YouTube video about it, this would be the thumbnail. But yeah, shoutouts to artists. Definitely should follow their work. They make a lot of really good, like, art for a lot of other VTubers and a lot of, like, just art about video games in general, video games and anime in general. Like, and it's all beautiful. I've been following them, like, ever since, like, late summer when I commissioned them for this. Commissioned her for this. So yeah, I think that's about it. So let's just get started. When so I broke this up into, I broke the 7,000 words up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chapters. Some are longer than others, but I tried to evenly split them up. It didn't initially have chapters, but for the purposes of, like, stream and people reading it and wanting to come back later and, you know, read the next chapter, I just, the way that I read, you know, I read in very short chunks. So, you know, I like reading, like, you know, 4 or 5 pages and then putting it down and then coming back reading another 4 pages. So just the way I like to read. I like, you know, it's split up like that. So, and again, if you're watching the VOD, you can use the, you know, timestamps. It's almost 45 minutes of ran. I'll have to watch the VOD. Good night. Okay. Thank you for sticking around late as you did. Also, we're in the Pokemon stream. But yeah, definitely go watch the VOD because I'll have timestamps and everything. And yeah, it'll be great. Rest well. Thank you for joining. And yeah. Hope you enjoy. Yeah, it should take like 2 hours to read, and I will look at chat in, so how it will go, I'll look at chat in between, I will close chat while I'm reading, just so we can have a clean read. And, I mean, I might screw up reading a word, you know me, but, you know, sounds like a threat. Rest well, or else. Hold on. Rest well, or else. But no. Take care of yourself, or don't. I prefer you do, but you don't have to, I guess. Anyway, sleep. I know sleep is difficult. Trust me, I know. But do your best. Anyway, yeah, I will look at chat in between reading chapters. So people who are watching the VOD that are only interested in reading, they're like, okay, they can click on chapter 1, and then when that chapter gets finished and there's still 20 minutes before the next chapter, they can just click on the next chapter and move on. I would like to make an audiobook version of all of my reading, but the 5 minutes that for my debut lore, like editing that audio and turning that into a fancy audiobook, that was so boring and took so much time, and I don't want to do that for every piece of writing. And I'm a streamer, so, you know, stream the writing. But I might, like, put in, like, an edited down version as a video. I don't know. But for the moment, stream VOD with timestamps, and also you could just read it yourself. It doesn't need to be an audiobook. Is good. Anyway, let's get into it, cha. Do my best with reading. Again, just did a discussion podcast, and now I'm reading, but hey. Had to make that face for a second while I adjusted my pants. Okay, so let's start chapter 1. Let's find a fun visual novel. Music. This is good. Debating if having text in the background or having music in the background is a good or bad thing. Most audiobooks don't, but this isn't really an audiobook, and I'm picking music that fits the scene, so... Again, if you just want a clean reading, you can just read it yourself if you want to read it without music. Anyway, let's hajimarimashou! I think I used the right hajimaru in there. So yeah, feel free to continue to leave comments. I just won't read them until after the chapter. I might put that in the pinned comment too, but it should be okay. Okay, so let's begin. And again, if you're watching the VOD of this, just use the timestamps to skip all the talking to chat in between chapters and just get straight to the chapters. Or read it yourself, it'll be linked in the description. But otherwise, let's start. How do I hide the chat? Sure, let's just make it hard to see. Because I don't want to close this OBS window entirely, so I know if my stream is alive or not. Okay, we're good, we good. Okay. By the way, that was left over from the notes. Official title is Palutena Cross Solaris Enyou Fanfiction. Also known as Palutena Date, or whatever you want. I'm bad at titles. So, content warning, there'll be some mild swearing, nothing more profane than what I usually say. Some physical, comical fighting, some existential thoughts, and most damning is cringe. So this is the start. I guess I don't need the start. So, the meetup. Oh, frick, I'm gonna be late. I frantically rushed around my hotel room looking for my phone. I couldn't believe that today of all days I was so disorganized. Perhaps it was just nerves. I did have a date with a very special someone, so I was understandably a little on edge. Turn the volume down a little bit. On my end, I think it's fine on the stream. So I was understandably a little on edge. I took a deep breath and realized that my phone was on the nightstand, exactly where I left it the night before. After an internal eye roll, I grabbed my phone, then ran over to put on my shoes and made my way out of the hotel I was staying at. Stepping outside, I was met with a blast of hot and humid air. This was supposed to release in the summer, remember that? Stepping outside, I was met with a blast of hot and humid air. It had been over 2 years since I've been in Japan, but I couldn't forget just how intense its summers could actually be. Although, all things considered, it wasn't too bad. The raw heat was not as bad as my hometown, and the humidity could be countered with the plentiful amount of vending machines stocked with various flavors of drinks Japan had around every corner. Either way, I couldn't bring myself to dislike Japanese summers. Maybe because of all the fun events held in the summer, or maybe even nostalgia, as my first trip to Japan was during the summer. But this time, I knew for sure that my excitement was because of my upcoming dates. After much rushing around, I finally made it to the meeting spot near the train station. As packed and as busy as Tokyo was, there were still quiet, secluded places tucked behind certain alleyways. This was the preview paragraph. I turned around the corner to our meeting spot and saw her standing there. Palutena, also known as the Goddess of Light. She hadn't noticed me yet, and I couldn't help but stop to appreciate her beauty. She was wearing her elegant white layered dress adorned with regal gold accessories, including a necklace, armbands, an ornamented belt, and a laurel crown. These white and gold colors accentuated her bright green hair that flowed down to just above her ankles. Overall, her appearance was as graceful and dignified as her title of the Goddess of Light. However, her outfit in combination with her soft expression also created a sense of playfulness. She was clearly someone who took her role very seriously, but still found the fun in it. This is how I read on computers, is highlight things. I'll also might hopefully make it easier to follow along. But let me know if it's annoying. As I was lost in thought, she noticed me and gave me a gentle smile and wave. I snapped out of my daze and ran up to greet her. Hello. I don't need to do a voice for me. That's just my voice. Hello. Sorry, I'm late. I do need to do a voice for Palutena. I can't believe you left a girl waiting all by herself in the middle of a big city alone for hours on end, she whimpered. Wait, I rushed to pull out my phone to see the time, only to find out I had only been 2 minutes past our arranged meeting time. I looked back up to see her smirking. I didn't think it would be that easy to get you flustered today. Okay. I realized she was teasing me and breathed a sigh of relief with it. All of the anxiety I had about that day disappeared. As beautiful and elegant as Palutena was, her joking demeanor was always successful at de-escalating a stressful situation. After exchanging an understanding smile, I suggested we grab breakfast before heading out. I know a place that has really good donuts. Donuts? That's not a very Japanese way to start the day. Oh, on the contrary, these are not donuts you would find anywhere else so easily. As with many things, Japan has its own unique spin on the concept that makes its donuts much better. Don't you think you're being a bit biased, Prince Enyou? Perhaps a bit, but they are just that good. And I thought I asked you not to be so formal with me. Why not? After all, you are next in line for Throne of the Sun, are you not? I rolled my eyes, unsure if she was teasing or not. You and I both know that I am a prince in name only. I don't have nearly enough skills or talent to carry such a prestigious title like that, unlike you, Lady Palutena. Even so, that doesn't mean you shouldn't act the part. But I understand your point. There's no need to be so formal. We're on a date after all, she said with a confident smile. Speaking of which, Solaris, where is this magical donut shop? Seoul is fine, and it's just down the street next to the train station. And with that, we headed out to our first destination for our dates. Okay, everything's fine. I dropped down to 0 viewers, but that's probably because most people are AFKing listening. Just before we headed into the donut shop, I realized something. Well, wait a minute. We can't just walk around in public dressed like this. Why not? Palutena asked obliviously. What do you mean? Just look at us. We both looked very out of place, the Goddess of Light looking the part, and I had my usual outfit on, donned with my regal accessories, cape, and even my trusty sword that was almost as big as my body. Oops. I don't know what I did. Okay. I fix it. I have a backup of this, don't worry. I have like 15 backups. Yeah. Big as, almost as big as my body. I don't see a problem. We're going to Akihabara. Didn't you say it was known for its otaku culture? Yeah, but there's still a limit to what we can get away with. With the way we look, we will definitely get stopped by the police, or at the very least attract way too much unwanted attention. Fine, if you're going to whine about it that much, then I think I have the perfect solution. I saw a twinkle in her eye and got worried about what she had in mind, but knew there was nothing I could do to stop her. With a gust of wind exploding out from her, she held out her hand in the air and with a flash of light summoned her majestic goddess staff. I feel like you're just making us stand out more. Just wait and see, she smirked. After a moment, she shot what looked like a ball of light out of the tip of her staff. The light acted similar to a firework as it rose in the air, exploded, and covered the both of us in a magical light. After the light dissipated, nothing seemed to have changed. Nonetheless, Palutena caused her staff to disappear and gained a satisfied expression. Nothing's different? Nothing's changed for us, she interjected. But for other people, our outfits are now not strange in the slightest. Looking at my puzzled expression, she further explained. I cast perception magic on us. The humans around us can still see us, but they are unable to see our outfits as anything out of the ordinary. I couldn't believe it at first, but looking around, I could see people walking by and only giving us passing glances as they went about their business. From what I know, perception magic is pretty high-level stuff, but I suppose you are the goddess of light after all. In response to my amazement, Palutena reacted as if that was only natural. Anyway, now that is taken care of, shall we head inside? Sure. We're good. We'll look at chat again. My ears are active. Good to know. Hello, Ella the demigod. That's almost relevant, because I'm a demigod in some right myself, and this is a story about me going on a date with my waifu, which is a goddess. So your name has some relevance. But yeah, I think that's a good solid start. I liked it a lot. The description of Palutena and just her first line being teasing, you know, her signature thing that she does in Uprising. The explaining our outfits, maybe like a little like, oh man, who cares? It drags down the story, but A, I like dumb details like that, and B, it may or may not, you know, be relevant for later in the story. Who knows, man? Currently on page 4 of 22. You know what I should do? I should change this to viewing. Okay. So now I can't edit it accidentally. But again, I have a backup, so it's fine. So this is where the Japan blog part starts. She's your waifu as well. Does that, if we have the same, do you have the same waifu? Do we have the same waifu? And does that make us friends or enemies? Anyway, I will be looking at the chat in between chapters, but I will move on to the... Again, if you're watching the VOD and don't want to hear me talk to chat in between chapters, just use the timestamps. Is this where the battle starts? We're on a date. Why would there be a fight? There's no battle. Me and Palutena are chill. There wouldn't be any battle on a date, right? It's fine. It's all fun. Also, it's breakfast. How much of a battle would breakfast be? Anyway, reading the next chapter. We'll look at chat in a after. Also chatting in between chapters just to give my throat a break. Anyway, next chapter. Mochi Breakfast. Heading inside the donut shop, Palutena was surprised that instead of people lining up to order their food, they were spread around the shop picking out their food. I explained that to order your food, you needed to use tongs to load up your food on a tray, then bring it up to the front to pay. Use tongs to load up your food on a tray, then bring it up to the front to pay. Compared to most donut shops in the West, it was quite unusual, but also convenient that you're able to take your time and scope out everything that you wanted. While there was a large variety of breakfast cakes on display, I brought attention over to the fabled mochi donuts. This was... having redundant words is something was bad about Fighting Time that I wanted to fix, but replacing donuts with breakfast cakes I don't know was the best idea. I brought our attention over to the fabled mochi donuts. Mochi? You mean like that rice cake thing? Not really. Trust me, if you like sweets, then these won't disappoint. Palutena was skeptical, but decided to trust me as she loaded her plate with the item in question. We then headed over to the counter to pay for our food, then over to the side to find a place to sit and eat. It sure is different from the donuts I know of. Palutena remained skeptical as she closely inspected the mochi donut and gave it a light pinch. It's not one circle, but rather several balls that have been stuck together in a ring. It also has a strangely spongy texture. How intriguing! I could have helped with this explanation, but I didn't want. I could have helped with this explanation, but I couldn't help but to admire her cute gestures and remarks while investigating the food. I also wanted her to get a first-hand experience with everything I had planned today, which is why I decided to keep my explanations to a bare minimum. No mansplaining here today. After a few moments, Palutena suddenly took a bite out of the donut and gave it a proper chew. In mere seconds, she had an elated look on her face, and her eyes glowed with excitement. This thing truly is amazing! Its fluffy and moist texture is closer to a luxury cake than a cheap donut. I can see why you praise it so highly. Hahaha, I'm glad you like it, I responded before taking my first bite as well. Nom 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 nom. Her excited reaction made this whole day worth it already. Its texture is thanks to the fact that it is apparently made with rice flour, using rice to spice up a Western dessert. If the rest of Japan has as much ingenuity as this, I can see why you're so obsessed with it. This is only the start, I confidently asserted. Palutena had vast knowledge that comes with being the goddess of light. However, that knowledge was mostly limited to her job. She could list off every relevant person, place, and object in the world of the gods, but she knew very little about the human world. As for me, it's kind of the opposite. Despite being Prince of the Sun, I had little interest in the title until recently, so I spent most of my youth screwing around. It wasn't until I came to Earth that I had any sort of passion for anything, and even then, my area of expertise was limited to otaku topics like anime and video games. The only reason I know about daily life in Japan is because I lived there for 3 years. So when thinking of a plan for this date that would allow me to show her something interesting while still being in my wheelhouse, of course, Japan was the first place I went to. But obviously I had my own bias in planning this, as our main destination was Akihabara, the central hub of otaku culture. Speaking of which, we better finish up here if we want to... Speaking of which, we better finish up here if we want to have time to do everything I have planned for us today. Agreed. We finished eating and threw out our trash before heading out of the shop. We then made our way to the nearby train station. Like most things in Japan, it was a bit crowded, but very orderly and easy to navigate. Palutena's perception magic was also making things easier. Even as we stood on the crowded train, nobody even looked up from their phones to freak out or stare. Before too long, we arrived at our destination and left the north exit of the Akihabara train station. So, again, maybe too much time spent on donuts. No, actually, it was just like this part that we talked about donuts, and this part was, talking about, difference between me and Palutena, so, you know what, we take it. Balls? Hold on. I'll get you a picture. Mochi donuts. Balls. You have what? You're eating what for breakfast? There's these, I explained it, but they're called mochi donuts, and they're made with like rice flour. And this is what they look like. They're donut shaped, but they're made with like little balls, and they're easy to pick off and eat. They're basically like a bunch of donut holes glued together in the shape of a donut. If you ever go to Japan, definitely try out these donuts. They have some places that make mochi. These things have been more popular in recent years. They have some places that make mochi donuts in the West. Where did your picture disappear? Oh wait, that's a different person. Ella and Ira. Hello, Ira. Reading my fan fiction dates. We just met up, and then we had breakfast, which is these things. And now we're moving on to the actual like date where we're going to Akihabara. Again, I've been to Akihabara, you know, this is like half a travel blog, so anything you see me talking about, like explaining how the food works, about how you gotta use tongs to pick up donuts, put it on your tray, and then bring it to the front to order it, as opposed to most donut shops, where you order at the front desk. Desk? I don't know if I would consider restaurants to have desks, but sure, why not? But yeah. So, I might be misremembering. I did a pretty good job of fact-checking everything, but I might be somewhat misremembering certain things. Like, we took a train to Akihabara, so, but I was intentionally vague of where we were before then, but like, pretty much every, like, train station has, like, a donut shop that has these mochi donuts in it in Japan, so, especially in Tokyo. Okay. Next chapter. Again, if you are watching the VOD and just want to skip to the just want to listen to me read the chapters, then use the timestamps. Okay. Let me minimize chat in order to... Is Ella and Ira the same person? You know what? I'm gonna minimize chat while I read the next block of text, and then we can get back to that later. Let's circle around back to that later. I'm also a hardcore Japanophile and otaku, so I know a lot about these stuff, but I tried to make it easy to understand. You know, this Akihabara, the central hub of otaku culture. We ain't the same person? Oh, okay. You don't want to know my OC for Kid Icarus? I might. I'm not gonna lie. I'm technically a Kid Icarus OC at this point, if you think about it. Anyway, minimizing the chat to read the next part of the story. Let's also find a different song. Yeah, that's good. Make sure it's not too loud. If it's at a volume where if you're turned up the stream and wear headphones and you can hear it, but you can, if you have the stream turned down, you can't hear it, but you can still hear me, then it's perfect. Because you have options at that point. Anyway, I didn't number these, but this is chapter 3, I think. We are on page 6 of 22. The central hub of otaku culture. Clear my throat, sorry about that. Again, just did a like 3-hour Pokemon discussion right before this. But hey, whatever, it's good. I have water. Anyway, the central hub of otaku culture. As we made our way out of the train station, we were immediately met with anime promotional material as we made our way out of the train station, we were immediately met with anime promotional material as far as the eye could see. From huge billboards to the windows of nearby shops and even the telephone poles, everything was covered with something related to a recent anime or video game. I know you said this was the Otaku hub or something, but I still wasn't expecting this much. It's also very interesting. I grinned with excitement at her comment. Akihabara surely never disappoints. This isn't even the main event. Shall we head farther in? Sure. I think that might be the wrong further. Whatever, we fix it later. We made our way down a side street next to the exit of the train station. As we reached the end, we were met with the main drag of town. Everything that we saw earlier was pushed up to 11. There were colorful buildings, a large screen playing an anime music video, and even the no smoking signs were decorated with adorable characters. As Palutena was starstruck with the sights, a particular building caught her eye. What is in there? She pointed to a large red building with bright blue text on it. Good eye. That is one of the most famous arcades here in Akihabara. Looking at her curious eyes, I could guess what she wanted to do. Want to head in and play some games? I would love that. We crossed the street and entered the building. Inside was a treasure trove of games, including chance-based crane games with anime figures for prizes, rhythm games that were playing the main theme of a recent popular anime, and more casual games like shooting and racing games. Hey, I know that guy! Palutena pointed to him facing. I know that guy is a domism. I did not realize I put in here until just now. Hey, I know that guy. Palutena pointed to a racing game that had Mario's face plastered on it. After sharing a look, we both sat down to play. I thought this would be an easy win. Palutena is not from a world with video games after all, and this was true for the first lap or two. However, it looked like something clicked and she overtook me on the last lap and solidly won. Hee hee, aren't you supposed to be a pro gamer? Palutena immediately went on to tease me over her victory. I wouldn't necessarily put it like that. How did you catch up so quickly? Are you sure you haven't played this game before? Well, being the goddess of light, I need to be good at quickly analyzing a situation and adapting. I suppose I let out a bit too much of my skills back there. She was gloating so much I could almost see a blinding light radiating off of her. But despite her teasing, there was not a shred of ill will in her. She and I both knew it was just a video game and nothing worth getting actually upset over. Toxic video gamers, please read. Well, I gave her a smile back. Let's find some more games to play. We spent the next hour or so playing various games at the arcade, ending at a claw machine. I spent more money than I would like to admit, failing at getting an anime figure out of the thing. You know, it probably would be cheaper to just buy that figure online than to try to get it here. Palutena watched helplessly as I put another coin into the machine. Is that the right spelling of true? If it's not, why did Word not underline it? True, but then you wouldn't get the experience of getting it. She seemed confused at my statement. Here, I know where we should go. I know where we should head. Here, I know where we should head next. After failing at the claw machine again, we headed out of the arcade and were once again subject to the full heat and humidity of the Japanese summer. I was quite parched, so I suggested we take a quick break for some drinks before moving on. Luckily, I was able to spot a life-saving vending machine that Japan basically has everywhere you look. While Palutena was resting in a shady spot, I ran over to pick out 2 drinks and brought them over for her. While Palutena was resting in a shady spot, I ran over to pick out 2 drinks and brought them over to her for us to enjoy. Peach water? Palutena said quizzically. Are you sure these aren't one of those crazy energy drinks or something? Yep, I reassured her. Just water with some peach flavoring. It's one of the most refreshing things to drink on a day like this. Palutena investigated the label a bit more, then decided to open up the top and take a drink. Ooh, this is good. Especially on a day like today. Thank you. No problem. I'm just glad you find it refreshing despite your godly status. I would ask about that, but I figure you wouldn't give me a straight answer. Her sly smile in reaction to what I said told me I was right. After rehydrating, we started talking about what I had next on the agenda. One of my favorite things to do in Akihabara is to window shop. Oh, why is that? I think it's better if you see for yourself. Intrigued, we got up and she followed me into one of the many shops that littered the city. This was, a late edition of, drinking the peach water. I wanted to bring in more food and drinks and, talk about the weather more and have some more character interaction. But it kind of separates, like, you wouldn't get the experience of getting it from this one, but I reiterated again so you would remember. As long as you have a memory better than an intoxicated goldfish, then you'll still remember it. It's pronounced Ira? Okay, sorry, Ira. He's now a voice actor. I did this? How do you change your profile picture? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. It's somewhere in the YouTube settings if you click on your circle in the upper right. I did this, yeah. Hey, I know that guy! Palutena pointed to a racing game that had Mario's face plastered on it. This Mario racing game is a real thing. Yeah, I'm sure you could figure that out yourself. And also, something about... So while researching this, I found out that this building... she pointed to a large red building with bright blue text on it. That is referring to the Sega building, but, I think in the middle of writing this... or I just forgot about it. The Sega building, went out of business. The building's still there, and it's still like an arcade building, but it just doesn't have, like, Sega on it. I think Enyou has a problem with pronouncing. I'm a substitute teacher, okay? It just comes with the job. Jin Wusai, the god of darkness. I know how to pronounce Japanese. Does that count? You ain't hear any English-speaking person pronounce Akihabara with confidence and fluidity like I do. Akihabara. People say Akihabara or Akihabara. But I'm sure I'm in live chat. I feel like these messages are out of order. Or that, or you're all crazy. No one chatting now. They're just listening to the stream. But yeah, so the building is still there. It's just not in the same way that it used to be. But if you go to Japan, you can still find plenty of arcades in Akihabara. Akihabara. Man, I miss that peach water. You have no idea. Never been able to find anything close to it outside of Japan. Okay, minimizing chat now. Merchandise maze. Once inside, we were surrounded with anime merchandise on all sides. The narrow hallways of the store were filled to the brim with colorful figures, posters, and anything else you could think of. Just one shelf was enough to spend a decent amount of time just seeing everything there is, let alone trying to get a feel for the whole store. Oh, I see. After a few minutes, Palutena immediately understood the appeal of getting lost in a place like this. This is no ordinary shop, it's more like Pandora's labyrinth of deceit. Except instead of monsters hiding around every corner, it's cute anime figures. I smiled in content that Palutena was able to see the joy that I saw in exploring places like this. This also might be spelled wrong. I will do another minor edit later. I smiled in content that Palutena was able to see the joy that I saw in exploring places like this. Okay, still on screen. We then moved to another building. This one was much bigger and had multiple floors, each with a different vendor. Despite its size, it was densely packed with every anime-related thing one could imagine. This shop really emphasized the labyrinth-like nature of these places. While some places were laid out in aisles, some parts of the store twisted and bent around in strange ways. It would have been almost scary getting lost in a place like that, but the friendly anime faces and upbeat music that played for the store gave it more of a fun adventure kind of feel. Adding to this was the variety of things you could find, from books to posters, things relating to new, relevant shows or old, obscure ones. No matter how much we explored, it always felt like there was something new to find. During our expedition of this anime dungeon, Palutena posed a relevant question. This is fun to explore, but is it worth actually buying anything here? Of course it is. With all these things to buy, why wouldn't you get at least something? Why wouldn't you get at least something? Why wouldn't you get at least something? I'm pretty sure it would be cheaper to buy any of this stuff online. You would also be able to quickly find what you wanted, as opposed to needing to search this dense place. After thinking about it for a moment, I responded, "Wouldn't that ruin the fun?" She seemed puzzled at my response. Sure, at the end of the day, places like these are tourist traps, but that isn't inherently a bad thing. Walking around and exploring these shops is a fun enough experience that I think it's worth it to bring some memorabilia home with you. I suppose you have a point. Besides, when buying things online, you already need to have an idea in your head of what you want, so you know what to search for, right? Right. But here, it's fun to stumble into something cool and interesting that you didn't even know you wanted. I see, so it's more about the experience of buying something as opposed to the actual purchase. Yeah, I smiled in response. After a bit more of exploring, Palutena found something that caught her eye. It was a keychain of an anime girl wearing a cute pink dress and pigtails. Hey Sol, do you happen to know where she is from? Oh, that? She's from a magical girl show from over a decade ago. It was popular because of its contrast of its cute characters against its darker plot. Oh, I see. As I explained what she was looking at, Palutena got more interested in the keychain. I can buy it for you if you want. You don't mind? Of course not. I took the keychain off its hook and we eventually found our way to a cash register. For a keychain, it was on the expensive side, but again, I didn't mind if it symbolized a good memory. After paying for it, I handed the bag with the item inside to Palutena. She then carefully accepted it and stored it in her pocket. I didn't even know her dress had. Or perhaps that was some form of magic as well. Thank you very much, Palutena smiled at me as we left the store with the treasure. You're welcome. Bonus points if you know what anime I'm talking about here. Again, VOD viewers can just use the chapters to skip right to the next chapter of me reading it. Sad only 2 watching. Well, you know, as long as people are having fun. I love looking. You guys have the worst guesses. A magical girl show from over a decade ago. It was popular because of its contrast of its cute characters against its darker plot. Anime girl wearing a cute pink dress and pigtails. I was kidding. Okay, I'm glad. Sailor Moon is a slightly better guess. But Sailor Moon doesn't have like a dark plot. Does it? I never got super duper far in Sailor Moon. Here, I'll pull up a picture. What's nighttime chat? It's the next chapter. You have to hold on a minute if you wanna know what that is. I could have had these pictures in, like, this document itself, but I don't know. I didn't want to avoid copyright, which is also why I didn't mention the name of the show, but I also have Palutena and Mario in here, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but whatever. I'm done. Don't worry about it. Again, this is not a standard thing that a lot of streamers or VTubers do, so knowing how it works is a little... Not knowing how it works is completely understandable. Anyway, here's your answer. Madoka Magica. So, again, maybe I should have explained this in the text itself, but some director's commentary. The reason I picked this is because it was made by Shaft, the anime studio Shaft, and that anime studio Shaft, after making Madoka Magica, I think it was after, yeah, it was after Madoka Magica, because Madoka Magica was like 2011, 2012, and then after making Madoka Magica, they made an animated short for Kid Icarus Uprising, Palutena's Revolting Dinner. So there's like a connection in there, so maybe Palutena's interested in it because it's familiar to what she knows or something. I don't know 100% what I meant by that, so you know, do your own digging and thinking about that. Or it's just a fun, cute reference. Unrelated note, I'm not kidding about, the snow smoking signs being decorated with anime characters. That is a real thing. Watch My Hero Academia. Well, last time I went to Japan, last time I was in Akihabara, which was... No, maybe it was the time before that. Sometime when I was in Akihabara, it was around, like, 2019, 2020, and, they did have, like, giant posters advertising, like, the new My Hero Academia movie. It's a good play. Like, listen, the cool thing about Akihabara is no matter what anime you like, if you only watch, you know, like, shonen action stuff, or if you watch, like, really weird, obscure old stuff, like, you could after enough searching, you could probably find merchandise of almost every single, anime character. Except for, I think the only thing I've ever had trouble searching for was, what was that one, like, ecchi show from, that had angels in it? It was, like, Heaven's Lost Property, I think. My sister was somehow really into that show, and she wanted a figure or something from that show, and I don't think we could find it. But I'm sure if we looked more, we definitely could have found it. Because I found, like, really old stuff, like Shakugan no Shana and, like, Madoka Magica, you know, even though it was a popular show, but that was, like, 10 years ago at this point. Let me just actually look up. I already Googled it anyway. Madoka Magica was 2011. Palutena's Revolting Dinner. 2012. Okay, so it was exactly a year after they were exactly a year apart. Maybe those two anime were closer in relation than I thought. Don't tell me no one knows Black Summoner. I'm sure if you used the Japanese title, I would be able to know what it is. But if I do a quick Google search and see a picture... Oh, that show? Oh, good taste. Good taste. Yeah. Dumb isekai, like, harem show where the main character looks like Kirito. Listen, a lot of people hate on it. A lot of people hate on those shows, but they're fun to watch every so often, you know? They're fun to watch. Some of them can be pretty fun, I'm just saying. I approve of your tastes, Ella. Okay, we're gonna move on. this is one of the two slightly melodramatic, you know, chapters. Because I was like, okay, the first half, yeah, we're 10 of 22 pages in. So I was like, okay, the first half is going to be all light and happy, which is what I originally intended to just release, you know, back in June. But as I wrote more of it, I'm like, man, let's get into some deep philosophical stuff, which is the most back half of this. But it's cut up. There's like 2 parts, and it's cut up between silly stuff. You'll see. I only like isekai anime based as frick. I respect it. Anyway, about halfway through, woo. Next chapter. Next chapter, Nighttime Chat. After we eventually escaped the store and went out into the open air, we were met with a completely new vibe to the main street of Akihabara. It was slightly cooler, and the crisp sunlight draping over everything had dissipated, giving way to the dark of night. However, while there was no natural light anymore, the city was still ablaze with an artificial glow. All the anime signs and buildings lit up the town with a colorful shimmer. It was very beautiful at night. Akihabara. Oh my! Palutena's eyes lit up in awe. Impressive, isn't it? Yeah, it's like an entirely different place now. It's so beautiful. I'm glad you like it. As the goddess of light, I was worried that a bunch of lit up anime signs would be boring. Not at all. We don't have anything like this in my homeworld of Skyworld. In my home of Skyworld. Same thing here. The sun is bright, but nothing like this. Is that a thing that... I've seen that in a couple like light novels where they italicize words for emphasis. Same thing here. The sun is bright, but nothing like this. After gawking at the illuminated streets and buildings, we both realized we were kind of exhausted. Yeah, it sounds right. You want to sit down for a moment before we head to our next stop? I suggested. Sure. We crossed the busy intersection and found a bench to rest on. I took off my sword to lean it on the back of the bench and sat down with Palutena. Let's have a little bit more melodramatic music playing. Okay. We crossed the busy intersection and found a bench to rest on. I took off my sword to lean out on the back of the bench and sat down with Palutena. You sure love Japan, don't you? After a moment, Palutena broke the comfortable silence. Huh? What brought this up? I can just see it. The passion you have when talking about anything here is something that you just can't fake. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Even after living in Japan for 3 years, it still hasn't gotten old. It always finds new ways to surprise me and pique my interest. However, despite this, or maybe because of this, I can't get rid of the lingering regret that I've had ever since I decided to leave Japan. I took a deep sigh and Palutena looked concerned. I didn't want to spoil the fun of our date, but I also didn't want to keep how I was feeling from her, so I decided to open up. You know, I can't shake the feeling like I abandoned Japan. Oh, why so? Well, I spent so much time working towards the goal of living in Japan, and when I finally got there, I felt like all my work had paid off. I was great at my job and I was able to make a real difference in people's lives. But despite all of that, I still decided to leave. Even still, I'm sure you had your reasons. I'm sure I did at one point, but things didn't really go according to plan, and now I feel like I wasted my time by going to Japan and coming back with nothing to show for it. Palutena thought for a moment before responding. Well, for starters, I don't think your time in Japan was wasted. Regardless of how it ended, there's nothing that can take away the knowledge and experience that you gained there. Even if you feel like it isn't helpful now, no one knows what the future holds. Not even me, and I'm a goddess. Palutena then gently held my hand. It was so soft. She continued, besides, you can't forget all the people you helped. You said yourself that you were good at your job, so I'm sure the impact that you made on their lives will never fade. Palutena's comforting words reminded me of something I had forgotten. I shook off the icky feeling I had and held my head high. The picture comes in. You know what? You're right. What I did was incredible. Most people on the sun have never even thought of going anywhere else. There are even some humans who have never left the part of the planet they were born on. But I suppose it's not fair to compare them to me. I am Prince of the Sun, after all. Palutena let out a gentle giggle. Yeah, try not to lose confidence in yourself and forget that. Besides, with your skills, the door to Japan is... Besides, with your skills, the door to Japan is open anytime. Yeah. Right. I did do some re-editing to make this scene to make this scene match the text. I was still far from figuring out everything. But even still, I felt like I had the confidence to figure it out. We shared another smile, but were interrupted by a creaking sound coming from my stomach. I laughed awkwardly. Are you ready to find something to eat for dinner? Ooh, I thought you would never ask, Palutena responded enthusiastically. After the donuts and peach water, I'm curious to see what else this place has to offer. I forgot that, despite being a dainty goddess, Palutena was kind of a foodie. That was part of the reason I brought her to Japan in the first place. So, where are we going? Palutena said with stars in her eyes. I think it should be around here somewhere. After scoping the area for a moment, I spotted two girls on the other side of the street wearing unusual clothing and handing out flyers. There it is. I know the perfect place to eat in Akihabara, I said with a playful smile. Okay, let's go. We got up and headed across the street. Look at chat again. Again, if you're a VOD watcher, use the time codes to skip to the next chapter. I clipped that word? What did you clip? I think it was 2 years. I said 3 years. Did I say 2 years? Can you not control F? Okay. Okay. Here's where the confusion is coming from. Because I said it had been over 2 years since I'd been to Japan. So since I have last been to Japan, it has been over 2 years. But I lived in Japan for 3 years total. Don't say balls again. Balls, 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 balls. Balls, 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 balls. Stop sweating. I fixed it. I cleared out the misunderstanding. It's also nice to, you know, in the moment hear, get feedback on things I could make clear. And, like, even if that's not, like, super relevant to, the question or relevant to the story, if it's a question that you're thinking of while reading the story, it is something I should at the very least be aware of. Picture's so good. Me and Palutena holding hands, me being like, yeah, I'm the coolest, and Palutena's like, yeah. The wink is good. I used to not be such a big fan of anime winks. I don't know why, but this artwork, and like there was another Pecoda artwork that convinced me that, yeah, you know what, anime winks are cute. Just that anime eyes are so big and far away that winking can sometimes look awkward, but this looks good. Also, a lot of revisions of like making sure that the background looks bright and busy, but doesn't like overshadow what's going on in the picture. Like in previous versions of the artwork, there were like people like walking like right ahead, and the cars were closer. But again, Doki, very easy to work with. You know, she was very like. Gave me a lot of sketches and gave me a lot of updates, and was very easy to work with. So you want to commission somebody, go Stu Doki. I think her comms are still open. Commissions are still open. I'm gonna head out. Thanks for joining me, so far, Ella, and you should watch the VOD later. But yeah, thanks for joining. Is red a cursed color? No? I hope it's not. Have a lot of red on me. I also think this wasn't necessarily too cringe for me. Understandable. Have a good day. 100% understandable. It's only gonna get cringer from here on, because the next chapter we go to somewhere super cringe. So you know, leave while you still can. But yeah, I didn't necessarily intend this when I was making my design, but my outfit does complement Palutena's a lot, really well. Like her white outfit, my black outfit, her green hair, my red cape. It looks, I love this picture. I could stare at it all day. I'm gonna print it out and put it on my wall, unironically. Oof. I'm glad that's the proper spelling of oof. I had to look that up. Also, this was the scene that I did, like, the most editing on, because it's very, like, personal and very, like, you know, talking about my personal life and my inner feelings. And so I wanted to make sure that was all, like, you know, conveyed properly. And also, I had to change it, because originally this scene was at daytime, and it wasn't necessarily related to this picture. But after some tinkering with the going back and forth with the picture, I'm like, yeah, I want this picture here in the important moment. The only one watching. YouTube claims that there's like one viewer in chat, but when in actuality, like, there's probably a lot more viewers, but YouTube does not count people who are like tabbed out, which is stupid. So like, even if the stream is playing and they are listening to it and watching it, if you're not like clicked into the window or tabbed in, then you don't, or like maybe even actively chatting in the chat, you don't count as a viewer. Which is stupid. But the VOD views are accurate. So like, yeah, I have currently two viewers, but the total views so far are 14. But again, you know, even if there's only a couple of people here, you know, as long as you are having a good time, listen, if there are any people showing up, you know, as opposed to, I talked about this before, but, you know, if you're showing up for a story, that means a lot. That view is a lot more worth of, like, valuable to me than, you know, I mean, I care about, you know, any stream that people watch. I'm happy with anything, but, you know, if I'm streaming, like, you know, a video game or, you know, talking about an anime, then, you know, most of the reason why the people are watching the stream is because they like that video game or anime or whatever. But if this is just, like, you know, an original story of me, then, you know, then I know that the few people that are here for me. So it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Thank you for watching. I also like this move. Hey, aren't you supposed to be a pro gamer? Like, I never claimed anything of that variety, Palutena. Many viewers in the Laugh Live, no hate. Yeah, no, I didn't think it was hate. It was just a question. Yeah, again, if you want to follow this person or see the full version of this picture, go to their Twitter. It's linked in the description of this video. But yes, I will minimize the chat again. We are well over halfway through. I know, I probably spent, over the past couple months, I probably spent like several dozen hours on this, and to have it boiled down to, you know, a 2-hour stream. A little surreal, but, you know, if people, a little surreal, but you know, it's the impact that matters. It's the impact. I think bro has a problem with the pick. Me? You think I have a problem? I have zero problems. Absolutely zero problems. You know, any problem that I had, like, you know, earlier versions, like this bridge was kind of messed up and like the foreground was being, you know, you remember that Sakurai video about, like, make sure the background doesn't distract from the foreground? That Sakurai video helped me realize, oh yeah, I should keep that in mind. And I was, again, Doki, very easy to work with, gave me a lot of sketches and feedback and was able to move a lot of things. So, I'm very happy with this picture. I think if I have to give, any complaint, any feedback, Palutena's legs kinda... No, that's just kinda how she's sitting. Yeah, maybe there might be, like, more depth to, like, how we're... There could be more depth to, like, how we're sitting. I don't know. The other one watching, they chilling. Don't call the lurkers, don't worry about it. Oh yeah, the sword was a big pain in the butt, cause my sword, how it usually like rests on my back is definitely not conducive to sitting on a bench, but I still wanted it to like be behind me and part of my profile, because I like having it like frame my face, like in my VTubing, and I can take it off. Yeah, and that's fine too, but it's definitely nice to have it, like, you know, frame my face. I like my character design. Thank you, Tay-Tay-sensei! But yeah, so I wanted to have the sword, so it leaning in the back, and getting the angle to make that work. I still don't think it would work, but don't think about it too hard. That was a katana. Since it will be relevant, I will explain it later, but, if you have not seen my full character design, is a big ass sword. I think I mentioned that earlier in the thingy too. Great sword moment, yeah. Definitely, you know, inspired by things, you know, my design was definitely inspired by the things that I like, you know, Bleach. I was also watching Berserk at the time, so that might have been a factor. Final Fantasy VII, etc., etc. Like earlier on, like during like the like right before breakfast. I had my usual outfit on, donned with my own regal accessories, a cape, and even my trusty sword that was almost as big as my body. I think I bring that up again, so yeah. Great sword moments. I just read that twice and I laughed both times. It reminds me of the sword in Blade Ball and Roblox. You're welcome. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment, but I will be optimistic and take that as a compliment. Oh, your sword looks so awesome. It's just like in Roblox, and I'm like, thank you. Very odd compliment, but you know, I appreciate the uniqueness. What is that word? It begins with an E. Sensual is uniqueness, whatever. I like your attitude. I like your attitude, Ira. Ira, right? I already forgot. I need Dom here to tell me how to pronounce things. Pronounced Ira. Okay, Ira. Anyway. Next chapter time. Let me minimize chat. I will see you in a moment. Next chapter. Welcome back, Master. As we so yeah, we just got up to find a place to eat in this is the perfect place to eat in Akihabara. Actual recommendation, don't worry about it. As we approached our destination, two energetic young... Hold on, I need Happier's music. This is just my clip ending song. Merry Christmas. This is good, I like this one. Okay. Next chapter. So, I know the perfect place to eat in Akihabara, I said with a playful smile, so we're gonna go to the perfect place to eat in Akihabara. Next chapter. Welcome back, Master. As we approached our destination... Make sure the song is not too loud. As we approached our destination, two energetic young girls dressed in French maid outfits beckoned us inside. Oh my, Palutena gasped. I didn't know I didn't know this was that kind of date. Well, I suppose if you insist. Wait, what? I blurt out. I blushed slightly. I don't know what you think this place is, but this is just a maid-themed cafe. Remember, we set out to get some food? Hee, I figured as much. I'm just messing with you. I took a sigh of relief. I really should have figured out when she was teasing me by now. Why is you yellow? I took a sigh of relief. I really should have figured out when she was teasing me by now. But still, I didn't know you were into that kind of stuff. Maybe next time I can wear something more fitting for your tastes. Oh boy, let's just head inside and I can explain myself. Okay. Let's head inside and I can explain myself. One of the girls led us inside, down a corridor and up an elevator. When the doors opened, we were met with an onslaught of cuteness as our server welcomed us in with a light bow, saying, "Okaeri nasaimasu, Goshujin-sama," an archaic way for a maid to welcome their master home, fully playing into the maid aesthetic they were going for. In addition, the entire inside of the cafe was covered wall to wall with pink and red ribbons. All the workers were dressed in maid outfits, and some even had fluffy cat ears shaped headbands on. It was almost as if we'd stepped into another world, completely divorced from the modern Japan we were just standing in. Our cat maid server led us to our seats and gave us a menu. Naturally, the menu was also full of cute items with hearts and animal shapes on them. I looked over at Palutena, who was in awe with everything around her. I can certainly see why you would want to come here. It's unlike anything we have experienced today. I'm glad you enjoy it. Something I don't understand, however, is how does this relate to otaku culture that Akihabara is famous for? Certainly the games we played and the anime merchandise we saw were related, but something like maid seems a bit out of place. That is a very good question, and I'm not sure I have a clear answer to that. I thought for a moment while we looked over the menu. I guess to answer that question, we must first ask ourselves what is the link between everything in otaku culture, either it be video games, anime, manga, maid cafes, or even VTubers. My, how deeply philosophical for such a silly question. Well, I am known in some circles as the otaku philosopher. Palutena giggled at my silly remark, and our conversation was cut short by the server asking us if we were ready to order, ending all of her sentences with a "Nyah." Palutena narrowed her eyes on the menu. Everything looks so good and interesting, I can't make up my mind. In that case, I would recommend the omodaisu. It's a staple of places like this. Okay, let's do that. We ordered 2 servings of the omodaisu, and after a few minutes, our server came out with our food. What was placed before us was a pile of fried rice with a layer of omelet over it. Scribbled on top with ketchup was an adorable picture. Scribbled on top with ketchup was an adorable picture of a cat with hearts all around it. Before leaving, our server placed a magical spell on our food to make it taste better, ending with making a heart shape with her hands. Oishiku nare, or become delicious, she said as she did this. We thanked her for the food and performance, then started eating. I think I understand otaku culture now, Palutena said in between bites. Oh, really? Yeah, I think it's the sense of having fun by using exaggeration. I think you have a point there. At its base appeal, anime is taking something from real life and amping up the amping the emotions up to raise the appeal of that thing. In a sense, creating a magical reality. The mates here are doing a similar thing, taking something that one might see in real life, such as maids, and exaggerating it to make it more fun. Perhaps that is the reason they use fake magical spells and wear cat ears. Palutena nodded in agreement. That's true, although don't you think that comes off as a bit short on people like us who can actually use magic? Maybe we aren't so different from anime and video game characters after all. We shared a laugh as we finished our food. When we were done and paid, several maids gave us a respectful bow and a "Itterashai" to see us off as we made our way back outside. I think I understand a bit better why you like this otaku culture so much now, Palutena said with a gentle smile. I'm glad you had fun today, and were able to learn something. I did have fun, thank you as well. However, there's one more spot I want to show you today. More of Japanese culture in general this time. Sure, lead the way. That's on it. I'll listen. I don't want to pick favorites with my children. That might be one of my favorite chapters. 100%. Not the maid fits. Listen, you tell me that I'm bad at pronouncing things. All of my pronunciation status points went into Japanese. Okaeri nasaimase, goshujin-sama. So I'm way too gosh dang good at that. But yeah, I think I actually might make a separate clip because I actually really like the point that I made here about the base appeal of anime and what it has to do with like maid cafes and VTubers and whatnot. People are like, VTubers aren't anime, and I'm like, well, you're technically right, but like, you know, if you think about like the base appeal of anime and, you know, video games and whatnot, of taking something that is real, you know, like real people and, you know, humans and whatnot, and, you know, turning them into magical anime characters, this kind of like mix between, you know, realistic and like realistic that you would see in like live action, but and like cartoony that you'd see in like a cartoon. Like anime is kind of like somewhere in the middle of that. Do you know who's Cat? No idea. And that, oh, you know, that was actually our server's name. Also, unironically, I would recommend going to a maid cafe if you go to Akihabara or Japan. They're all over in Japan, if you know where to look. Like, but the easiest place to just go to Akihabara and look for the girls in maid outfits handing out flyers. That's them. Because it is a beautiful experience. It's cringe, but you know, just the way, you know, the food and the show is, and the atmosphere, it makes it worth it. You know who, it's funny, listen, unless it has to do with Japanese media, I don't know it. I barely know who Matt Pat was when people were talking about how sad they were when he was graduating or quitting YouTube or taking a step back or whatever he did. Okay, you ask me about VTubers, you ask me about Inugami Korone, you ask me about Amane Kanata, you ask me about Akai Hato, you know, ask me about Hoshikawa Sara. You know, I can get you. I got you. I know those content creators like the back of my hand. But then you're like, do you know iFunny? And I'm like, isn't that like a meme website? Nobody calls me the otaku philosopher, I'm sorry. It's a thing I'm trying to get started, but it's nobody's biting. Anyway, we can talk a bit more in general after we finish reading. But Funny's real name is Cat. Oh, I see. You know that one meme of like the only reason I know this American media is because of a meme, but there was like those one meme of like a bad guy possessed the Green Lantern from DC, and then he like went to a mirror and took off his mask and was like, I have no idea who this is. Like I'm gonna expose the secret identity of Green Lantern, and he took off the mask and was like, I have no idea who this man is. So, you revealing that iFunny's real name is Cat, neither of those words mean anything to me, I'm sorry. One of the funniest bits from DC. It is a great meme, and I don't know anything else about DC. I watch Batman movies sometimes. I have no idea who this guy is. I also watched one or two of the old Superman movies from like 70s, I think. Anyway, this is a short chapter. I'll be right back. Next chapter. Heading to the end game. We're going to our last. There's what I want to show Palutena, and then that's the end of the day. So old and new. Also, lead the way. I had that phrase in like 4 times, and I changed it so I think this is the only instance of the phrase "lead the way." Yes. So that's a very specific phrase that people would notice while reading if it popped up more than once. Anyway, old and new. We left the main drag of town and made our way through some alleys. As usual for Japan, even though we were in some dark back streets, it wasn't scary. In fact, it was oddly relaxing to be in the quiet streets and out of the hustle and bustle of the town. People still say hustle and bustle nowadays. At the end of the alley, there was a set of stairs that went so high we couldn't see the top. We were at the end of a long day, and more stairs was not something we were looking forward to, but this was the last stop on our journey, so that, in combination with the meal we just ate, gave us the energy to press on. When we reached the top and turned the corner, we were met with a beautiful traditional Japanese shrine lit up against the dark of the night, surrounded by lush trees. This is appropriate music. When we reached the top and turned the corner, we were met with a beautiful traditional Japanese shrine lit up against the dark of the night, surrounded by lush trees. Oh, wow! Palutena's eyes lit up. This is the Kanda Shrine, hidden away in the back of Akihabara. How do you like it? It's a real place. Beautiful. How do you like it? It's very serene. Just a few moments ago, we were walking through dark city alleys, but now it feels like we were transported into the past. I'm glad you like it so much, I smiled. Another reason I love Japan so much is its ability to combine the old and new. This shrine in the middle of a modern city is a perfect example of that. It's cool to know that in the same town people partake in modern nerd culture with arcades and maid cafes. There's a space to practice the more traditional and spiritual elements of the culture. Palutena took a moment to take in what I said, seeming to really appreciate the contrasting view of the old shrine and natural trees in front of her with the tall skyscrapers in the background. She then turned to smile at me. Thank you for everything today. To be honest, I thought today was mostly going to be indulging in your interests, and while that was partly true, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed seeing and learning about everything. If I didn't know any better, I would say I almost became a real otaku myself. I smirked at her joke, but also was I smirked at her joke, but was also touched by her appreciation. I'm glad you were able to enjoy yourself today. She smiled back and we enjoyed the view for a few moments longer. It's a really pretty place. Eventually, I noticed something strange about our surroundings. There were fewer and fewer people around. Even though it was late, there were still a handful of people walking around until just a few moments ago. But now they have all disappeared. Dispersed? They have all dispersed. Even people around the perimeter of the shrine were walking past it as if they didn't even notice it was there. It felt similar to the perception magic that Palutena cast earlier to mask our outfits. But why use it on a whole area like this? See? I brought it back. I turned to ask Palutena what was going on, but before I could say anything, I felt a strange presence in the sky. It was too far away to clearly make out, but it was definitely not an airplane. It wasn't flying, rather, it was falling. More importantly, its descent was aimed directly at me! Quickly, I took out the large two-handed sword off of my back and held it in front of me and braced for impact. The object came down with the force of a meteor and hit my sword with a loud bang that exploded outwards, causing a dust cloud. After After a second, the dust settled and I could finally see the object that fell from the sky. You didn't see that spoiler. 100 minutes ago. Speaking of 100 and anime, I should watch 100 Girlfriends. Because people are like, that's actually really good. And I'm like, this is in my wheelhouse of expertise. And I probably was going to watch it eventually, but I'm definitely not sure to watch it. Anyway, I can pull up a picture of the Kanda Shrine. If you want to see. Especially at night, it's beautiful. I'm sorry. Okay, Google is stalking me. It just gave me an automatic like search suggestion saying Kanda Shrine at night. Stop. Get out of my head. Get out of my head. Get out of my head. Leave me alone. It's a very small picture, but this is the shrine in question. You can see it's lit up at night. Google is stalking me. We just talked about this in the Pokemon stream. But yeah, you can see how it's like lit up at night. It's very beautiful. Especially like being there in the moment. This is something I did not notice until like, you know, my second or third time at Akihabara. And like, I'm very upset I did not go to it sooner. Honestly, you should just take this whole like story as an itinerary and just have this day in Akihabara. It's a good day. I'm just saying, I want to go. I miss Japan. I want to go back. I miss Japan and I want to go back and I want to drink the peach water. I want to have a mochi donut. Anyway, we need some battle music. Maybe that's a little too intense. Actually, the battle's not started yet. Oh wow, right? Had the same reaction as Palutena. it's the most logical reaction. Definitely, you go to Japan, go to the Kanda Shrine in Akihabara. It's also a good way to experience, you know, the old and new of Japan. You know, you play some anime in the arcades, and then go to this beautiful traditional shrine. I like Japan, period. I like anime. I like manga. I like Japan, period. Anyway, next chapter. The penultimate chapter. Also the longest chapter. This is why this chapter is so short, because it was originally part of this chapter, but this chapter is the longest. So I was like, let's break it up somehow. Anyway, penultimate chapter, Angelic Ideals. So something just fell from the sky and hit my sword. After a second, the dust settled and I could finally see the object that fell from the sky. Angelic Ideals. Pit? What are you doing here? Pit was an angel who served Palutena and was the captain of her royal guard. He was wearing his usual white tunic and laurel crown, accompanied by his large white wings. These wings, however, were useless on their own, hence the crash landing. Currently, his signature weapon of a gold and blue-bladed bow was pressed up against my sword. Your playtime ends here, Solaris! I can't do a good Pit voice, I'm sorry. What are you talking about? I raised my sword and swung it at Pit, causing him to jump back, creating some space between us. It's a bit rude to interrupt someone on a date, you know. I let you two have your fun, but now Palutena needs to return to her home of Skyworld, where I can protect her. I turned and gave a confused look towards Palutena, who shrugged. I can't complain that Pit is passionate about his job, But there is really no stopping him when he gets like this. Oh, so that's what this is about. I turn back towards Pit. I don't know if you've I don't know if you've forgotten, Angel, but I'm the Prince of the Sun, and thus have all the power of the sun at my disposal. So I don't think you need to be worried about Palutena while I'm around. Pit furrowed his brow. I wish I could believe that, but we both know that you can only use a small fraction of the sun's power. All that lets you do is wield that oversized sword you have. I didn't have anything to say in response. He was right after all. See what I said when I said you get some lore in here? Lore that may be explained in a future story. I'm just further detailed in a future story. I'm just saying. I didn't have anything to say in response. He was right after all. But even still. So what? Even with my limited powers, I can still protect Palutena just as well as you can. Oh yeah? Pit got even more worked up. Did you climb out of the depths of the underworld to save Palutena? Did you blindly jump into a dimension that ignores the laws of physics to save Palutena? Fine. In that case, if I defeat you, that should prove that I have what it takes to protect her, right? I said while raising my sword. Sounds good to me. Bring it on! From Brawl. Pit readied his bow. I didn't particularly like fighting IRL, especially against a friend, but my relationship with Palutena was on the line. Speaking of which, during this, I noticed Palutena seemed to be dipping more and more into the sidelines as this conversation went on. She was probably hoping that this disagreement would resolve itself. This was fine by me. I wanted to prove on my own that I was worthy to stand by her side. Now we do fight music. Okay. Frick. Okay. Battle in the Moonlight. Perfect song. Perfect song for this. Credits for the song is in the description. Or it doesn't say the name of the song, but it's where I got the song. I took my sword and dashed towards Pit. He retaliated by firing several arrows of light from his bow. Thanks to the speed I was able to move my sword, I was able to bat away the attacks without losing much speed. Finally, I was close enough to get in an attack. I swung my sword horizontally at Pit, but he blocked it with the blade of his bow. Not bad reactions. This is me. Not bad reactions. I can see why you're the captain of Palutena's guard. However, you leave yourself too open. I quickly pivoted in place, causing a 360 motion with my sword to strike the other side of Pit. Spin! With the extreme speed and power of my sword, there was no way Pit could move his large bow to the other side of him in time. However, too slow! Pit separated his bow into two swords and was able to block both sides of him at once. Frick! I forgot about that. Pit then attacked with a fury of sword swipes that I was barely able to keep up with. Eventually, one of his attacks knocked me off guard, causing me to lose grip on my large weapon. He then kicked me in the chest, sending me flying backwards, crashing into the ground on my back. Oof! Ugh! Luckily, my clothing was able to block most of the damage, but I was still pretty roughed up. I still can't believe... I can't believe I was so focused on beating Pit, I completely forgot about one of the most basic functions of his weapon. But still, I wasn't gonna let that stop me. I once again grabbed my sword and picked myself up to return to the fight. Pit returned his swords back into a bow and fired off another arrow of light, but this one was much larger and more powerful than the ones that came before. I couldn't simply bat it away this time, so I decided to dodge it. Right before the arrow made contact, I barely rolled out of the way in time, feeling a gust of wind hit my face as the arrow flew by. Whoosh! However, I wasn't in the clear just yet. I knew about the homing abilities of these attacks. Behind me, the arrow made a quick U-turn and went back towards me. I slammed my sword into the ground and used the force of the blow to launch myself into the air. The light arrow tilted upwards to try to hit me. but missed it. The light arrow tilted upwards to try and hit me, but missed and flew up above Pit's head and dissipated into the sky. I used this brief period of time that the arrow was between the two of us and blocked Pit's view to rush him down again and try to get a hit in. But just like before, Pit broke his bow into dual swords and parried my attack. He then went for another rush of sword strikes to fight me off. This time I was prepared. I used the speed of my sword to match his attacks. This worked for a moment, yet Pit's attacks seemed to be getting faster. Or rather, the speed of my attacks were getting slower. Until Pit found an opening and landed a solid blow on me, knocking me off balance. Please give up, Solaris. I don't want to hurt you. Up until now, Pit's tone has been agitated, but now he was showing me kindness. He knew that the winner of this battle was decided long ago. Damn it! Actually, I was out of breath. Damn it! I was running out of breath and getting lightheaded. I was barely able to keep hold of my sword in this state. Despite all the big talk I did earlier, I was now fully aware of the difference in our power. There was no way I could beat Pit the way I am now. Out of desperation, I grabbed my sword with two hands in reverse grip and aimed it downwards towards Pit. He used his swords to block the attack, but I wasn't aiming for him directly. I was aiming at his loose clothing, slamming the point of my giant weapon nearly the size of me into the ground. I pinned Pit's tunic and thus him into the ground. I said the ground twice. Despite your angel powers, even you are going to have a hard time moving my sword without my powers specifically. What a cheap trick! Pit struggled and pulled to try to set himself free, but to no avail. This gave me an opening to land at least a punch or a kick in on Pit, but I knew that wouldn't be enough. I knew that, in the long term of this fight, I wouldn't be able to come out on top. So instead, I decided to run away. Sad song. Fight song over now. Welcome to the circus. What are we talking about? Kanda sounds like a Japanese name. Deep breath. It sounds like a Japanese name because it is a place in Japan that speaks Japanese. I'm kidding. I'm just doing a little teasing. Is there a fight between Pit and Solaris? There was some fight. Drum roll, welcome to the circus of dreams! But yeah, especially in fighting time, I know that Palutena during the fight silent, yeah. Hoping, yeah, dipping more and more into the sidelines, hoping as this conversation went on, she was probably hoping the disagreement would resolve itself. I did a lot of I hope I got Palutena's character right here, because I did a lot of editing and like revisiting Kid Icarus Uprising cutscenes to like actually I don't know if I revisited Kid Icarus Uprising cutscenes. Oh no, I definitely did. You know, I replay that game all the time and watch videos about it. But so yes, 100% I studied some cutscenes. Because in a previous skit, draft, like she was generic anime character, like embarrassed about being hungry, but I'm like, wait, Palutena loves food. She was talking about eating the many rechecks of the wiki, the Kid Icarus Wikipedia definitely helped me a lot. But yeah, Palutena the entire time, like Pit was fighting the Kraken, Palutena was talking about how to cook it and eat it. KidIcarusWiki.org is the one that I used for the most part, the Icarusopedia, which is part of the Nintendo Independent Wiki Alliance, which sounds like a thing to overthrow the government, but it is just a group of open content encyclopedias based on Nintendo franchises, i.e. not using fandom. Anyway, not important. But yeah, so hopefully I got Palutena's character right. Something that did help was describing her and Pit's outfit. I was like, if you look at her, like, her outfit is not very easy to put into text. But I obviously did not plagiarize the Wikipedia, but I definitely looked at a couple of different sources of how they describe Palutena's outfit. and implemented that. Again, you can check this. No plagiarizing, but I did take like certain words like ornamented belt, laurel crown, stuff like that. Anyway, we'll talk more about this at the end, which is now. I gotta find a Sade music. No. Working on it. Working on it. Working on it. Working on it. Okay, I think this is good. You're safe from the H-bomb, the next H-bomb archive video for now, chump. Know what you're talking about. Made a video calling out people plagiarizing. Because it turns out nobody effing checks. Which I guess people are like, oh, nobody would check this video to see if I use the same wording as this article. They checked. He checked. Some people, the good ones, CGP Grey and stuff like that. CGP Grey, I don't remember the letters. Have adapted text posts into videos, but with explicit permission. And citing your sources. Anyway, last chapter. Yeah, it's a somewhat short one. So let's just get into it. Is this a sad enough song? Man, happy Christmas. Jingle bells, jingle bells. Focusing. Song I had up before was good. It's not that sad of a scene. I cannot resize this window anymore. Okay, we're good. Okay. So, oh, yeah, I'll talk about that at the end. So I pinned Pit down with my giant big ass sword. So technically, I don't have a sword at this point. Because it's currently stapling Pit to the ground. And I was like, I can't win this fight, so I just decided to run away. So last chapter, end of a dream. With Pit pinned down, I grabbed Palutena's hand and ran down the stairs leading away from the shrine. Wait a minute, Palutena said out of breath. Before I realized it, we were back on the main road of Akihabara, surrounded by dazzling bright lights. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. I just wanted to get out of there. It's okay, but more importantly, why did you want to do that fight in the first place? Because he was right. Even though I'm supposed to be some fancy sun prince, at the end of the day, I'm just a regular guy. I don't have the power to protect you, or the right to stand by your side. I slumped down and avoided eye contact. Oh boy, is that... Okay, doing Palutena voice. Oh boy, is that what this is all about? Pull yourself together, soul. I looked up to see an annoyed Palutena with her hands on her hips and cheeks puffed. Do you really think I agreed to go on this date because of your status or power? Well, I thought you were trying to maintain your political power by going on a date with a prince or something. Do you really believe that? I don't care about the fact that you're a prince or whatever. I wanted to go on this date because... Palutena showed a brief moment of embarrassment as her face got a tinge red. I wanted to go on this date because I wanted to spend time with you. That's it. I was speechless. As much as the dark thoughts in me wanted to take over, seeing her earnest face as she said those words brought me back to my senses, at least a bit. Are Are you sure? Of course I am. Do you really think I'm that shallow? And you should feel ashamed that you forced me to say that out loud. Palutena, of course I am. Do you really think I'm that shallow? And you should feel ashamed that you forced me to say that out loud. Palutena quickly returned to her playful self, putting my heart at ease, as always. Yeah, I guess you're right. One of the main reasons that I like and respect you so much is because, despite the pretense that you put on as a goddess, you do deeply care about people. That's why you put so much effort into protecting humans, even though you appear to look down on them. Well, I only protect them because they worship me so much. See, that's what I was talking about, I smiled. Palutena responded back with a smile of her own. I took a deep breath. I guess, deep down, I couldn't believe this day was real. What do you mean by that? She asked inquisitively. Inquisitively. Well, going on a date with my waifu at my favorite place on Earth, it all just seems like something that wouldn't happen. As soon as I said that, the bright lights coming off the building started to get brighter and brighter, enveloping the two of us in a bright white light. Gee, that's a strange thing to say, Palutena smirked. Doesn't the fact that you can even imagine a day like this happening and all the happiness that you felt with it prove that you believe deep in your heart that something like this is possible for you? So, who cares about what is real and what is not real? Yeah, I guess you're right. If I can so clearly visualize a day with someone like you, then for someone like me, it should be easy to make it into a reality. So in that sense, it's just as good as if it actually happened. Yeah, try not to forget that. Palutena's smile was all I could see as the white glow overtook my vision, and I could feel my body start to float away. Whoosh. I need a different song. As my vision cleared and my mind came to, I was met with a familiar ceiling. It was my bedroom ceiling, with the late morning light filling the room. So it was a dream, after all. It wasn't unusual for me to have dreams about my favorite anime or video game characters, but it was the first time that it was so detailed and vivid, almost as if I was peering into an alternate reality world, that really exists. But this was the first time that it was so detailed and vivid, almost as if I was peering into an alternate reality that really exists. I wonder if it had anything to do with my latent powers. Either way, the whole day being a dream didn't actually make me feel sad. In fact, it filled me with joy and hope. It was fun hanging out with Palutena, dream or not, and everything she said was true. Just the fact that I could imagine all that happening means that I do believe in myself that something like that could happen, even if subconsciously. I should have more faith in myself. Even if I'm not where I want to be, as long as I'm working to improve myself, then I think I am enough, at least for now. With a renewed sense of faith in myself, I got out of bed and began to start my day anew. The end. I'm sorry it was all a dream. I wanted to make it canon for the Solaris lore. Do this song. Okay, the ending is here. Hello, what did you... The self-care dimension! Sad? It's not sad! I just said it didn't make me feel sad. You know, I've definitely, like, have had IRL, like, dreams like that, you know? And whenever I wake up from dreams like that, you know, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of sad. I don't live in anime world with all my waifus, but with my waifu. But, you know, it's fun to experience, right? Don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened. And also maybe beat your wife. Don't beat your wife. Don't beat your... It's a Dr. Seuss quote. Anyway, the awkward silence, though. Yeah, I tried to find a way to connect these two things. So that's the end. We're just gonna do a little bit of chatting. I know it's late at night, and I'm tired, I wanna go to bed, but, you know, just do a little bit of chatting. By the way, is that something that people understood? Grabbing nothing. Okay. That, like, I've seen this happen in some light novels, that, like, they use italicized text to differentiate between what the narrator character is thinking at that moment versus how they're describing it, like, you know, as a narrator. So, like, this is narrator me, and then this is, like, me thinking to myself or having a thought in the moment. So, like, at the moment, you know, this whole monologue in my head didn't happen, but this did, and that's indicated by an italices that are parentheses. Parentheses kind of implies that I'm talking out loud to myself. My country is the afternoon. Congratulations. In Japan, it's 3:30 p.m. 3:33 p.m. Yeah, parentheses would make it seem like I'm talking out loud to myself, which anime characters 100% do, so it wouldn't be that out of the ordinary. But, I don't know, this is just what I've seen and makes sense. Again, there's no, like, for art, there's no real, like, hard rules. Like, it's not like, oh, you have to put it like this or it won't work. But so as long as people could understand, like, so my question is, did you understand that, like, this was, you know, narration, and this was actual thought I had at the moment? I think that happens a couple other times in the, story. Yeah, I can't believe I was so focused on beating Pit, I completely forgot about one of the most basic functions of his weapon. Bro, have only 85 subs. I'm only 9 months old. I mean, that didn't come out right. My channel is only 9 months old. So, yeah, see, because everything else, like, even if it doesn't have, like, a character tag on it, I said, yeah, even if it doesn't have, like, a character tag on it, you can still assume that, like, you know, things in quotes are things that are said out loud. It's clear that that's thought. I was just saying what I've also seen. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not I definitely, you know, talk out loud to myself more often than I'd like to admit. So, you know, me or my characters in my story would not make would not be completely outside of the realm of possibility. But, you know, do you like it? But, you know, in general, did you like the story? What are your general thoughts on it? Again, if you're watching the VOD, feel free to give me a more detailed thing in the, or as detailed as you want, as simple or detailed as you want, and I will give a thorough reply when I have time. I'm only 9 months old. Didn't mean it like that. But, when are you dropping this into AO3? What is AO3? I was wondering, like, is there, like, a fanfiction? What do people still use, like, fanfiction websites, like fanfiction.net or whatever, that I could upload this to? Because I just have these in, like, Google Docs, and people can, with a link that people can view. Archive of our own. Naruhodo? It doesn't actually Naruhodo. But yeah, I'll probably make my own, after I make some more writing, I'll probably just make my own, like, website or whatever to host all of this. But right now, you can just, you know, if you want to see more, if you enjoyed this, and you want to see more, I think both that and fanfiction.net are big fanfic sites. Okay. But yeah, if you want to see more, I have in my channel on the home page, you know, a playlist of my writing. It's only this Fightin' Time in the intro lore video. But hopefully the next video, the next writing will not take 9 months to accomplish. I already have several ideas for several stories, some of which are alluded to in this. But no, let's stop talking about fanfiction. What did you think of the story? What, on a scale of 1 to 10, does AO3 having over 12 million works answer your question if it's used? No. Yeah, I mean, yes, it does. Was it good? Did you enjoy the story? I'm not necessarily asking for an in-depth review. I mean, if you want to give me that, that's great. if you enjoyed it. I gave it rated a 7. We'll take that. 7.5 out of 10. I enjoy it. You know what? If you just want to give me a score, or if you want to give me any more or less details, then that's fine. But you overall not super passionate about it. You had fun with it. That's how it matters. Yeah, as something that honestly, that's a pretty high score. You know, I'm like, oh no, only 7. But honestly, for something that was like a personal project that got out of hand, not necessarily something that was aimed to be shown to other people. Honestly, 7. If you liked it enough to give it a 7 out of 10, that's pretty good, you know? It's one of those things where, like, yeah, obviously I enjoyed it a lot, and obviously, you know, if you're the person that Palutena is going on a date with, you would enjoy the story more. Obviously, I'm not expecting anyone to be like, this is my favorite story, other than me, but, yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun with it. What did you think of the prose? I think the last time in Fightin' Time, people were like, hey, you have a lot of repetitive wording, and I still struggle with that a little bit. Like, the fight, I am now realizing, like, I'm really bad at writing fight scenes. Even though I watch a lot of fighting anime, a lot of the, like, light novels I read don't have a lot of, like, fighting in it. Solaris is gonna rate this live. I think he's gonna rate this a 900. Hold on, I have a funny picture. I have a funny picture. Speaking of rating my own streams. I really hope I still have this. But yeah, the fight, I'm bad at writing like fights, but I think I definitely have improved. I don't know, I want to say I have improved a bit. You know, if you compare this fight scene to, you know, Fightin' Time. I mean, this only had one fight scene as compared to Fightin' Time, which had a lot. But, oh my gosh, it might be gone. Fights are hard to write, yeah. Because you need to be, like, they need to be, like, quick and high-paced. But they also, like, can't be, like, boring. Like, they need to, I mean, they need to be quick and, like, fast-paced. Like, in order to keep the flow of the fight going. But you can't, like, be too fast because people get lost. And it's a lot of, it's hard. I'm an addict to fictional death, dang. Did people die in Fightin' Time? I don't remember. Some spoiler alert, some stories I'm writing in the future do have some people, you know, croaking. I'm still trying to find this picture. But yeah, I think the pros were a lot better. I think the fight was a lot simpler than Fightin' Time. Brother, you wrote the story, how would we know? What did I say? What did I ask? Meow, 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 meow. A moo. Hey, oi, bruv, moo in it. Not the picture I'm looking for. It was a long time ago, and I didn't. Ah, here we go. Wait. That was the wrong picture. Oh my gosh! Now I have to find it. Now I have to find it. Now I've put so much stock into it. I have to find it. Hello, I'm a crow. I'm here to learn geometries. Where did that Charizard come from? It's the, like, the Pokemon, like, Wii dungeon crawling game. It came from, it's that Charizard. Nothing wrong with low poly Charizard. There's many things wrong with that Charizard. That's just like your opinion, man. There we go. I rated my stream as honestly as I physically could. It's enjoyable. The 1 month anniversary Zatsudan. It was enjoyable. It was heartwarming. It was calming. It was life-changing. It was useful. It was informative. It was inspiring. And it was also other. I clap. Hi, Bean. I haven't actually seen you in for a while. How's it going? It's true. It is my opinion. But yeah, I mean, people, you know, can or cannot put comments. I'm glad people enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting people to like super hardcore enjoy it. I was worried that people were gonna be like, okay, that's interesting, I guess. But people are like 7 out of 10. I'm like, that's good. I like that. I like that a lot. Bro, so much, but you know me, general panic and slight misfortune. Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I like the Japan. I like that I put my like personal experience into it. You know, of like, this is a very accurate depiction of Japan, and I think I painted a very good picture. Blast of hot and humid air. You talk to anyone who's been in Japan in the summer, they'll be like, Mushiatsui ne! Very hot and wet. But I like all the events held in summer, and also my first trip to Japan was during summer, so I like Japanese summer. I like this bit of dialogue, foreshadowing a little bit of what will happen later. My sister ain't crazy, she's only a toddler. Those things are not mutually exclusive. Or mutually inclusive. But yeah, this foreshadowing of like, you know, I'm a prince in name only. I don't have enough skills to carry or talent to carry such a prestigious title like that, unlike you know. Talking about, you know, insecurity, about, you know, I'm not enough. Also the Barbie movie came out in the middle of writing this, so I might have thrown some I think this line at one point in development was I am enough. They have I still want that sweatshirt. There's a sweatshirt that's like a rainbow and it says I am enough. I'm like, I love it. Barbie movie is my favorite thing. Might be my favorite non-anime movie. I have to be up in 6 hours, mostly an hour to sleep, and usually, which is more than I usually get, but still. I have to also be up in 6 hours. Yeah, you use the VODs, use the timestamps. I'm gonna add timestamps, hopefully tomorrow morning, to add in like the chapters so you can skip between, because in between each chapter I was like talking to chat. And yeah, give me a leave it if you want, you know. Leave a comment. Tell me if you liked it. I stalked my dad's Facebook. I stopped stalking my dad's Facebook several years ago. Stopped using. I had never used Facebook in general, but now I'd post some crazy crap on there. I mean, I know he's the Prince of the Sun, and he's got a lot on his mind. You know. Or no, I'm Prince of the Sun. My dad is King of the Sun. I know my dad is King of the Sun. He's got a lot on his mind. But, I don't know if you've gotta post all that crazy crap to Facebook. But yeah, this whole story was just an excuse to warrant spending a lot of money on this picture. was worth every single penny. Don't care if it was money that I didn't really have. No, I have the money. I want to write a story in the comments, a real story that happened to me. If it's relevant, I won't immediately delete it after I read it. But if I immediately delete it after I read it, just know I did read it, and the only reason I deleted it was because it was off topic. But yeah, I like the foreshadowing. I think I got Palutena's character really good. Like, you know, Palutena, the first thing she does is, I can't believe you left a girl waiting all by herself in the middle of a big city alone for hours on end. It's only been 2 minutes since our arranged meeting time. Involves cheating. Because my dad cheated on me. My parents left us in Best Buy, and all we have is to communicate with the outside world is Miiverse. Splatoon is really fun. I hate when my parents fight. But yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. Divorces are not easy. Even a son prince like me is not, don't know if that's the best thing to say in a comment section. I mean, if they wanna talk about it and they're not just trauma dumping, listen, I'll read the comment, decide if it's appropriate and on topic, then delete it. Now I have 2 half-siblings. I have, a sister, a half-sibling, and, like, 6 step-siblings. Because the guy, my mom's boyfriend, whom she married, has, like, had 1 kid and then triplets. So I have like 4 half siblings, or not 4. I have 4 step siblings. I was saying I have a half sibling. You have double of that. But anyway, 2 accent voice 2. How crazy would it be to recommend somebody play Days before 2? Because Kingdom Hearts 2 kind of is kind of banking on you not knowing what the hell's going on. But if you know what's going on, I think the story might be better. I like talking about donuts. I miss the mochi donuts. Kelly and Carter. This is starting to go off topic. I'm gonna warn you right now, Ira. But yeah, I love Akihabara. It was fun to write because it was just everything I love into a piece of writing. I did a lot of work editing it to make sure it was fun and readable. But yeah, the next stories I have are less personal projects and more like, hey, this is a cool story I want to share with the other people. Where this is like, I could have not released this. and been okay. This whole the difference between me and Palutena. How many hours, days did you make this? I think I started work like late summer, and then finished making the first giraffe in October, and then just today I finished editing it. But it was really on and off, so I can't tell you how many hours. More than 10, but probably less than 100. I'll put it at that. It's probably somewhere. That's a big ballpark, but it's probably somewhere in there. And for a 7,000 word story, that's a decent amount of time. If I was better at writing, I could write faster. Or write better, I don't know, man. Trying to see if there's anything more. I know there was something I wanted. By the way, I looked up this rule. You're supposed to write down in letters, words, numbers that are 10 or fewer, but you can write out in numerical digits, words that are 11 and higher. So earlier I said, like, I lived in Japan for 2 years, TWO, but here is 11, the numerical digits. How many days, hours, did it take to make this? Awkward silence. Oh, hold on. Oh, it didn't take that long. Again, I'm not smoking. I'm not joking. Even the no smoking signs are have anime characters on them. Really funny. Hey, I know that guy. Tom seeping into my subconscious and coming out as my waifu. Psychoanalyze that however you want. Also, this is kind of a reference because Palutena knowing who Mario is. Listen, I can't control my subconscious, Dom. I'm sorry. You want to kiss later? I mean, what did I just say? What did he mean by that? Anyway, Palutena knowing Mario is knowing who Mario is a reference to Kid Icarus Uprising breaking the fourth wall 24/7. Mario Kart. Have you ever played the like IRL like Mario Kart arcade game? Like, it's fun as heck. It takes a little picture of you and then puts it like hover above your character. Like, you know how in Mario Kart 8 like the name is above the character's name is above the player, but like in the Mario Kart like GP or whatever, the live action, not live action, the arcade machine, like they take a picture of you and they put a little Mario mustache on you on your picture and they put that above your thing. Also, Pac-Man is playable. Why is Pac-Man playable in the Mario Kart arcade game but not the core Mario Kart series? I guess because Mario Kart arcade was made by Bandai Namco Bandai. Namco made it, yeah. Yeah. Is this a skill that Palutena has? She has the Palutena Super Sensor, which may or may not be real. But yeah, let's just say that she's a tactician and she's good at analyzing situations and adapting, and she could be good at Mario Kart. I like the chant thing I made here because like people give tourist traps a hard time, but like if you know it's a tourist trap and you are buying a souvenir, then like, yeah, sure, whatever, if it's more expensive or you could get it cheaper online, like whatever. Like you're here for the experience of getting it as opposed to the actual thing. I love in Akihabara. I've wasted an entire days in Akihabara just wandering around the stores. I love window shopping. I don't know about any of you, but I love window shopping and having an endless a labyrinthine maze of anime merchandise to window shop at. Love it. Hi Ella, weren't you going to bed? But yeah, I love the shops in Akihabara. You gotta check it out. Yeah, and also like this reference. It's no ordinary shop. It's more like Pandora's Labyrinth of Deceit, except instead of monsters hiding around every corner, it's cute anime figures. I love lines like that like in fanfiction, I love lines like that use the, you know, reader's knowledge of the core series in order to, you know, make a connection to like, yeah, it really does feel like Pandora's Labyrinth of Deceit, where how labyrinthine and twisting and disorienting it can be sometimes, but it's fun because it's, instead of monsters hiding around every corner, it's cute anime figures. But if you do go to Japan and go to Akihabara stores, just be careful to not accidentally wander into a adult-only section. They're usually pretty plastered as they say like 18 plus or in English adult only. What year is it in your country? Man, I don't even know anymore. You know how daylight savings just happened, so I think that I'm not sure what year. Why are we talking about I'm not understanding how time zones work? That happened in both streams. Make this point again, walking around the shops is fun, so it's nice to bring some memorabilia home with you. Madoka Magica. Meow, 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 meow. I like Japan, and I feel bad for leaving, especially because, again, you had your reasons to leave. I'm sure I did at one point, but things didn't really go according to plan. It's how it goes. But that doesn't take away from the fact of that I've lived in Japan and I had a great time, and those experiences will stick with me, and my skills, door to Japan, I could go back to Japan anytime. Yeah, I used the picture twice because I wanted to make sure, like a light novel where, the scene that the picture it takes place in is right next to the block of text that the scene takes place in. Yeah, definitely want to do more stuff like this. Like, maybe instead of like one giant expensive painting, like maybe like several smaller paintings depicting, different scenes throughout the story, stuff like that. Thinking. It's 2024. Oh my gosh! It's 2024! I live too! We should be best friends! I'm just joking. I'm playing. Heidi nasaimasu. I love the maid cafe. I love this maid cafe chapter. Heidi nasaimasu, goshijin-sama. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter, so Betty bought some butter. Oh my, I almost did it first try. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter, so Betty bought some better butter to make the bitter butter better. Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter, so Betty bought some better butter to make the bitter butter better. I did it. Easy clap. What's the Japanese Gasu basu bakuhatsu. Gasu basu bakuhatsu. Literally gas bus explosion. Gasu basu bakuhatsu. Gasu basu bakuhatsu. Gasu basu. Ugh, I can't do it. Gasu basu bakuhatsu. Gasu basu bakuhatsu. Gasu basu bakuhatsu. Gasu basu bakuhatsu. Okay. The other one I think is like akagami, aogami, something like that. Different colors of paper. Yeah, obviously, like, I can't publish this in a book for multiple reasons. A, it's too cringe. B, nobody but me super cares. And C, it copyright. It would be nice to have, like, a collection of my short stories and that's the dream, to write something good enough that I can justify selling it in physical form. How much can I woodchuck whether the weather is warm weather, the weather is hot, we have to put up with the weather whether we like it or not. That's not too hard. This stream has gone way off topic. Anyway, I like the scene. Definitely worth all the re-edits I did. Definitely gonna make this picture of my wallpaper and print it out, and it'll be great. Yeah, okaeri nasaimasu. Is this kind of like dirty humor? This was something else I was debating putting in the content warning. But I'm like, I don't know how to even describe this. Innuendo, kind of? Because there's like, oh, because she saw the maids, the energetic young girls dressed in French maid outfits. And Palutena's like, oh my, I didn't know this was that kind of date. And I'm like, wait, what? She's like, if I didn't know you were into that kind of stuff, maybe next time I can wear something more fitting for your tastes. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm not even 100% sure I wrote this, and even I'm not 100% sure what she meant by this. So if I'm not 100% sure what she meant by that, then I don't think, it's worth putting in a content warning for, like, sexual innuendo or whatever the fudge. We're going to talk about Kid Icarus OCs. No, we're going to finish talking about this, book, and then we're going to end the stream. That's just fun to say, I'm sorry. Oshikunare was right here. I might clip this and make it like a separate, its own video of talking about, you know, the core appeal of otaku culture. Because, I mean, people have talked about it before, but, you know, the way I have phrased it, different. Definitely not copyrighted here. Definitely not plagiarizing anything here. Because, like, seriously, who else would have this kind of conversation in this kind of situation? I saw Susie sitting in a shoe shine shop where she shines, she sits where she sits and she shines. And also this kind of, like, fourth wall breaking. Don't you think that because they use, like, you know, fake magic to put a magic spell on the meal to make it delicious? And Palutena's like, don't you think that comes off as a bit short on people like us who can actually use magic? And I'm like, maybe we aren't so different from anime and video game characters after all. It's getting crazy in here, so take off all your sword. Okay, I'm done. And again, I think, all things considered, I think this fight scenes are hard, and I think this was understandable. I think the only thing that was a little hard to understand was that I was intentionally vague about what my powers were. Because again, there may or may not, one of my future story ideas may or may not be, you know, some more VTuber lore. I'm just saying. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. It's not gonna happen anytime soon because it's on the long list of story ideas I have. you know that thing where you have three story ideas, and then you write one of those stories, and then afterwards you have 6 story ideas. You know? But yeah, so it might have been a little confused, but I think you got the general idea, is that my sword is big and heavy. Don't get me started! Don't get me started! But yeah, I think you get the general idea that, like, my sword is big and heavy, and I have the power to move it very quickly. Like, that's pretty much all you need to know. That, and, my clothing is magical. My clothing was able to block most of the damage, but I was still pretty roughed up. And the fact that, you know, you can only use a small fraction of the sun's power. All that lets you do is wield that oversized sword you have. You know. Just, you know, yeah. Quickly pivot in place, causing a 360 motion with my sword to strike the other side of pit. That give you a clear visual, like a clear, like, I spun around to, and use the momentum of the spin to hit pit. Bring it on! I think that was that's a Brawl quote, right? It's not even Kid Icarus Uprising pit. Frick and damn it. Shadow the Hedgehog. Man, literally solar powered. I mean, there's benefits that you get from being the Prince of the Sun. But yeah, that was like Shadow the Hedgehog levels of swearing. Damn it, we missed it. I'll go after them on my own. Fun fact, Sonic swears exactly twice in that game. Once where he's being eaten alive by parasitic monsters, he goes, damn! And then the other time where, you know, a thing he's chasing gets away and he has to run after it. Those are the 2 times he says damn. In the final cutscene and, like one of the final story cutscenes and that mission where you have to, like, shoot down a spaceship, and if you fail it, he says, damn, they got away. I'll go on ahead. Something to that effect. We gotta get our, had to get our Sonic quota in. I can't think, I was thinking of putting a Sonic arcade cabinet somewhere in here, but I honestly don't think I've ever seen a Sonic arcade cabinet. Other than that, I'd probably swear being eaten by a parasitic monster. But would you swear to the same level as a mild inconvenience? I'm just saying. Is a mild inconvenience and being eaten alive by a parasitic monster, do those require the same level of swearing? if you're gonna have to pick 2 points in your life to swear, are those 2 really the ones that you need? But yeah, I think actually someone tweeted about this and brought back a closed memory of like a Sonic, like, it's not necessarily like an arcade game, it was like a Sonic Adventure, like, wheel spinning arcade game. Sonic Adventure wheel spinning arcade. Oh boy, I got a lot of interesting results. There it is! There she blows. I found it on reddit.com. Oh my god, don't save it as a WEPB file. Give me a minute. Yeah, despite being the Sega arcade, there was no, like, Sonic games in there. That's where I first played Pokken back in, like, when was my first trip to Japan? I want to say 2014? Has it really been 10 years? Goddamn. Before Tekken. I think it was 2015. I think it was summer 2015. I went to Japan for the first time, and I played Pokken for the first time. But yeah, here's the one Sonic arcade game I was thinking about. Yes, be the largest you could ever be. Thank you. Right? I remember having vague childhood memories of this, and I've definitely never seen it in Japan, and I don't even know what it is. But I have how to play. I can't read that. Insert coin, press button to stop spinning wheel. Okay. Looks familiar. Yeah, I can't quite pinpoint it, but it looks familiar. And someone on Twitter was like, oh my gosh, I remember this. We had one in the arcade when we were kids. They had one in the pizza place when we were kids. And I'm like, has to be where I saw it. Anyway. But other than that, there's no other Sonic arcade game. But yeah, I think this fight went pretty well, you know, hinted at some stuff, had some cool fighting with Pit, you know. The thing about light novel fights, like, if you compare, like, you know, the fights in, like, shonen anime, like Bleach, versus the fights in, like, you know, popular light novels that have a lot of fighting in them, like Index, like, the fights in Bleach and Index, a certain magical index, are very different, you know. Bleach is all about, you know, power-ups and cool moves and, you know, transformations and whatnot, where Index is more, like, spends most of the time explaining what the powers do and what they are, as opposed to actually using the powers. So, basically what I'm saying is I gotta read more Index and create a story based around that. Although, you know, in the future, I would love to, you know, team up with an artist and make, write stories in other mediums, you know, like visual novel or like, you know, a comic or something. you know, but I want to get better at writing before, you know, I bother someone with a bunch of time and energy to make something like a comic for one of my stories. Angelic Ideals kind of alliterates. I tried to make some alliteration and I didn't. It was only Merchandise Maze that had alliteration. But yeah, so like I pinned Pit to the ground with my sword, and I'm like, despite your energy powers, you're gonna have a hard time moving my sword without my powers specifically. So I think you can figure out. Hi Ira. Back at AFK. We're ending the stream soon. But welcome back. But yeah, you can kind of I specifically did not explain my powers a lot. That will be for a different story that will be at some point in the future. I think I want to write an original story before I do another lore story, but we'll see how it ends up going. And then I wanted to make it canon to the Solaris universe without, you know, just putting Palutena and Pit in the entire Nintendo universe in here. So I wanted to make it this canon, so this was the compromise. So like it didn't really happen, but you know, it's canon. Door of the call center. Nani? But yeah, I think I handled the dream better. I kind of wanted to more foreshadow it, like add in some lines like, wow, this is so great, it feels like a dream. But, you know, instead of it being a twist ending, but it's not necessarily like a twist of like, what, it's a dream? You know, it's like, you know, we were surrounded by dazzling bright lights, and then the lights eventually started to get brighter and brighter. And then they overtake us, and yeah, as soon as I said that, the bright lights coming out the building started to get brighter, enveloping the two of us in a bright light. And then Palutena's smile was all I could see as the white glow overtook my vision. I could feel my body start to float away. For a moment, bro was processing what I said. I'm still processing what you said. Anyway, I'm gonna go to sleep. I gotta get up in like, 6 hours, but you know. As long as I don't get sick. I was just clearing my throat because my throat hurts. So I just did 2 3-hour streams in a row. But it's nice to get both of them done. This story and the Pokemon discussion was definitely, you know, on my to-do list for a very long time. So it feels nice to finally get these off of my chest. I mean, I still have, you know, Pikmin and Fate that I gotta finish. But, you know, at the very least with anime and writing, I can move on to, you know, the next thing. But, yeah, you know, it had some sad parts, but, you know, it had some overall, like, it had some personal stories, you know, trying to be... I have a hard time being genuine in speech, and writing is just makes it a lot easier. So I try to be more, like, honest and, you know, genuine in my streams, but, you know, it's hard. So, I was happy to, you know, put in some, you know, things I'm struggling with, you know, mentally, into a story, and it ending with, you know, like, yeah, you know, things are hard, but, you know, I have to have more faith in myself, even if I'm not where I want to be. As long as I'm working to improve myself, then I think I am enough, at least for now. I am enough. Bye, go to sleep. Yeah, we're going to sleep. Anyway, if you want to read it, the VOD will be time-stamped when I wake up. Basically like this version of the story without all the notes in it, because the other version of the other copy that I have of this has like all my like notes and story outlines and comments, but this is just like a clean version. So this will be available. The Google Doc will be available to view, and you can read it or print it out, do whatever you want. You could read it on your own stream. I mean, I wouldn't say no to that. I would not copyright strike that if you really wanted to do that. But yeah, I guess that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed this writing. Next piece of writing will not take 9 months to come out. I have some plans. I have some, like, I have extensive notes. I have a story that I've been working on, that I've been making notes and thinking about, like, since before I became a VTuber. And a lot of other, like, stories that I'm hinted towards in here. So, don't stream. I was just saying, hypothetically. But anyway, yeah. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you again to Doki Sensei. She's a great artist. I have very much enjoyed following her on Twitter. She makes not just like one genre of art. She draws, you know, like big booby anime girls, but also, you know, like cute anime boys, like muscle dudes, you know, and like everything in between. Like, it's really good. That's partly why I chose her for this, because, you know, this needed both a cute girl and a anime boy. So but yeah, I'm ending the stream, I promise. Thank you to Doki again. Follow them on Twitter. Part of the reason I became a VTuber was to, you know, was to promote and work with and promote artists. So, you know, it would mean a lot to me, you know, if you checked them out, you know, gave them a follow or a like or whatever. And also, yeah, do the same thing to me if you want. Do the same thing to me if you want. Follow, like, whatever. But just honestly, just thank you for watching up until now, and yeah, there will be more fun streams. Things are a little up in the air right now. I'm not sure quite what's going on. But, you know, regardless, whether it's like, you know, soon or later, more fun streams will be happening in the future. So, yeah, thank you all for joining me on this. Thank you for indulging my fanfiction stuff. And, I'm going to sleep right now. I'm going to sleep right now, Ira. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I just want to communicate that I really love streaming, and I love everyone watching me, and, you know, even if I don't get a lot of viewers or subs, like, as long as people that are here are having a good time, that's good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream. Go check out everything else, and take care of yourself, and have a good evening, day, afternoon, morning, whatever. Have a good life. Have a good, you know, rest of your life. I hope you have a great day today, and a great day tomorrow, and the day after that. After that, you're on your own, though. Anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and thank you for watching, and until next time, I've been Enyou Solaris. Hope you all had a good time, and take care of yourselves, and until next time we meet, stay fresh, cheese bags.